Right. Retry action. teacher now.
That in his past life, our hero was likely from the demon race.
Which
The
was
boy
the
flushes red in his mother's lap and wonders if past lives really exist. Zairui is surprised and says she heard about this from the oldest demon sealer. In the continent's history, some humans claim to be reincarnations of others. They even carried memories, and she thought her old master was just boasting. But since she and her son searched for doctors everywhere with no positive results, she remembered some old events and felt the symptoms were very similar to the reports. That's why she went to her master's hometown to try her luck with the witch doctor. The doctor confirms that ancient texts do speak of this very strange illness. The residual power from his demon past life rejects his current human body. So it's no wonder the boy has symptoms of fever all over his body. The mother is worried the whole time and asks what she can do to solve her son's problem. The doctor says there is nothing to be done and the boy will pass away within a year at most. Desperate, she asks if there isn't another way. The doctor reveals a very difficult method because the essence of the boy's illness is the residual will from his past life. As the demon hero sleeps, he has a small glimpse of what he was called. The doctor explains that if he eats demon cores, his body's resistance will decrease. Zairui becomes excited, knowing the cores are the source of power for the demon race. In the past, humans ate them to live, has finally arrived forever. The next instant, a blast of red energy fills the screen, showing the battle in full swing. Human soldiers are attacking the demons with their lances and a cavalry charge of violence. One warrior lands a powerful energy punch right in an opponent's chest. Another soldier climbs onto a giant missile, shouting for everyone to advance at full force. And so, a fleet of giant flying ships prepares for the final attack on the city. One soldier climbs a ladder to position himself and begin the invasion of the great dragon. Finally, the creature's eyes fill with fury upon seeing the ships approaching for the fight. Several explosions shake the demon city as the humans continue their attack without mercy. Furious, Tull, the son of the Supreme Regent, complains that years have passed and nothing has changed. Even with the giant territory, the demon race couldn't recover. He shouts that no one with even half of Lin Potion's strength has appeared to save their people. An advisor warns that the humans have broken through the outer wall and are heading for the city center. Meanwhile, in the meeting room, the council discusses that their interests cannot be compromised. One of the regents with a pig-like face becomes furious, shouting that the situation is completely unacceptable. Soon after, another leader asks who the traitor was that sold Lin Potion's information to the enemy. He warns he knows the character of everyone there, and that only the inner circle knew the location. The fourth regent, who has a tiger-like face, says no one expected the humans to be so cruel. He recalls the old hero mentioned, having relatives with talents similar to his power. Moreover, the seventh regent accuses the humans of wiping his entire family off the map just for security. Then, accusations begin to fly, and the second regent is blamed for receiving a promotion after the hero's fall. Tired of the bickering, the Tiger Regent shouts that the old emperor didn't put Lin Potion in power for no reason. The third regent, a rooster-faced man, stands up and asks about the situation of the demon cores. He suggests the warrior elite should hunt down all the cores scattered across the world. However, the sixth regent with a lion's face thinks the idea is terrible and says he doesn't understand politics. The humans know all about Lin Potion's strength and wouldn't leave the cores around without a reason. Moreover, the cores were taken by the 12 disaster stars, and recovering them is practically impossible. Finally, the young empress seated on her ice throne asks if they have any solution. One of the regents complains there is nothing to do and that the princess's father wasted his power. Then, the young empress says she found an old friend who has a plan to save her, but the tiger regent yells at her, warning that the royal family no longer has a chance to turn the tables. He accuses the girl of trying to infiltrate her own people into the council in the middle of the crisis. Immediately, the other leaders say that without Lin Potion, this can be resolved, and she should be punished. With a smile, the Empress reveals that the person she mentioned has a connection to the old hero. The rooster and lion regents ask if some distant relative of the guy survived the massacre. Others question if it's his adopted son, but remember he can't meet with royalty. Suddenly, a flash of bright light floods the meeting room, capturing everyone's attention. The council members are astonished, staring at the door with expressions of surprise and fear, because a feminine silhouette enters the room, leaving all the leaders paralyzed with shock. One of the regents is left gaping, remembering having seen that woman somewhere before. The mysterious woman walks toward the council while the Empress watches from afar. In a flashback, we see our hero and his fiancée wishing the nobles a happy new year. Then it clicks for the council. That is Donna, Lin Potion's fiancée, whom everyone thought had passed away. The lion regent screams desperately, asking if this is the solution the Empress promised. A doctor says one of Lin Potion's cores fell nearby and may have protected them. The woman affirms that the hero left one of his cores to protect them. They have good political sense. In the crowd, people hate Leopold. It's a 70% chance of success. Then she gives the people Danu says they have no reason to refuse her proposal. Leader Doli calls her a genius for having such a good plan in a situation like that. Will end him here and now. Doli screams in pain as she squeezes harder, wanting to end it quickly. He curses her, saying he is the #1 noble and she can't do this to him. He also warns that if she eliminates him, he news about the extermination case from his past life, then he surrendered to them once again, and she celebrates that the chance to invade the enemy's last refuge has finally arrived. Finding the news too loud, Zairui grabs the remote to turn off the TV. Finally, the room falls silent again, and our boy's decision is still up in the air. Zairui tells our boy to leave the portal and finally be rid of his illness. Without thinking twice, our protagonist tosses the item into his mouth and swallows it. Immediately, he feels the energy of the purple core spreading through his chest. His mother asks if he is feeling better and if he has remembered anything. Suddenly, a memory of him and his mother playing in the grass passes through his mind. Soon after, he sees the image of a man being tortured with green vines. Then, he remembers when he was a child drawing while his mother worked. Finally, several memories from his past life as a demon flood his mind all at once. A whirlwind of memories invades our hero's mind in one go. He then remembers the exact moment of his end at the hands of a pregnant sire. His body trembling with rage, our protagonist squeezes the cup tightly, shattering it into 1,000
potion. 998,000. Earl replied that he was sorry, but they couldn't use her potion. This potion may seem good at first glance, but it can have horrible side effects. Gina asked him, "What side effects?" The white-haired guy answered that once she uses this ointment, her tail will become invisible. The girl asked, "What happens then?" Earl replied that then not only others, but also he will not see her tail. Will life have meaning if he will not see her tail? Either way, he was not happy with her potion. He gave her 1 day to make a new one. All she had to do was just make it so he could see the tail and the others couldn't. Zola was angry. She screamed that she was the strongest alchemist, and if he thought he could make her do whatever he wanted, he was very wrong. Who did he think she was? The guy was rich. He threw a bag of gold on the table and said that this was his down payment. If he was happy with the result, the bag of gold would be bigger. The girl's eyes immediately sparkled. She replied that his strong and determined character was what she loved about him, and he could treat her today any way he wanted. A chemical machine that would do anything he wanted. Earl told her to stop doing stupid things and get to work. The girl immediately got to work. But the potion they were talking about exists, and she has the recipe, only she is missing one ingredient. She recently ran out of this herb. Earl said if there was something missing, he would buy it now. But Zola replied that she can't buy it. This herb is known as Ghost Spirit Herb. It looks like a small white flower with a blue pattern on the petals. In the area, you can only find it in dark swamps. But according to rumors, there is a monster lurking in the nearby swamp recently. Warriors of Light were sent out, but they were unable to track down this monster, and so the area was closed. The mighty warrior said it was no big deal and asked, how many colors are needed for the potion? Then the alchemist replied that he should gather as many as he could. It was her first time making such a potion, and so she might fail. Earl thought that she would probably just sell what was left. But the girl replied that she would never sell anything. It was just insurance in case of failure. The mighty warrior then replied to have Zola look after Gina, and he would be back quickly, but Gina asked him to stop. She turned to face him and started wagging her tail. She was getting her thoughts together. She wanted to say something, and then Gina told him to try not to die and come back soon. She would be waiting for him. Earl said those words sounded like they were an elderly married couple. Gina told him to back off. After a while, Earl went into the dark swamps and finally found what he was looking for. It seemed to be this one, a small white flower with blue designs on the petals. He thought it was rare, but it was so rare to find. Gina turned to the girl in the hat. She called her Miss Zola, but she said she could just call her Zola. Gina asked her if she could ask her a question. At the same time, Earl was going to pick those flowers. Zola told Gina she could ask her question. How she guesses it has to do with circle. The white-haired warrior was already reaching for those flowers with his hand, but suddenly he felt an earthquake under his feet. Suddenly, trees began to break, the ground near him began to collapse, and something very strange was happening. While these events were happening to him, Zola asked Gina what she wanted to ask him. If she wanted to ask him about his earnings, she probably couldn't say. She answered that she had a different question, but still Zola guessed that this question was indeed related to Grey Earl, right in front of the power and intimidating. Gina wanted to ask who were these warriors of light. Zola began to tell that once the monster is defeated, he turns into a human being like her. They call such people ghouls. Ghouls are creatures who have given in to their desires, so they used to cause fear in the form of monsters, but after defeat they are disgusted like ghouls. Thus, more often will often repeat the same mistakes and once again give in to desire. And the magic lamp will appear in front of them, fulfilling these desires. With their wishes still stronger, they will become even stronger monsters. But if someone decides to kill Ghoul, the consequences will be even worse. After Ghoul's death, a new infectious disease arises in this place, a disease that causes despair and death. Those who are desperate are likely to give in to the desire, and they may have a magic lamp. Most likely, after that, they will become new monsters and bring more death and despair. The ghoulies shouldn't live, but they shouldn't die either. The organization created to solve this problem has become the Warriors of Light. Thanks to their mystical arts, the Warriors of Light can kill the soul of a ghoul. A ghoul whose soul is killed will turn to dust without causing a plague. In other words, the Warriors of Light is the only organization in the whole world that can kill monsters. Then the white-haired girl wondered why such an incredible organization hadn't finished off the only swamp monster yet. It seems this monster is terribly strong, and Earl is in danger. Zola told little Gina not to worry about Earl, but she replied that she wasn't worried about him. That madman had...
Twice we go right. Nope. We go right.